The procedures page is where most of the work is done today if you're an owner. Although you could do it from your dashboard as well, I would intend for your team members to work from their dashboard, which will have a portal into this procedures database, and it would be specific to them. And so to give you an example, if we look at this list, we see that some of these processes are assigned to Bobo Buckley, and some of them are assigned to Robert Buckley. But currently I'm logged in as Bobo Buckley. So if we go to this Active Me, which is just a filter, we go to this view, then because I'm logged in as Bobo Buckley, all I see are the procedures that are assigned to me. So anyone can work from here if they want to, but this exact same view is available on their dashboard, and so anything that's been assigned to them would be in this list. And of course, archived is like any of the other pages, things that you have completed or you didn't get or when, and then all is everything active, archived, anything that you didn't get. The chart view, charts are not that new, but I thought this one was interesting to be able to look at, and you can see here on the axes that we have linked to processes. So these are the processes over here, starting at sales up here and working our way down this list all the way to punch or callback. And then on the bottom axis we have the legend that tells us that the blue bars represent the Buckley remodel, the yellow bars represent the Chapman 114 project, and the blue bar, there's only one, represents the Notion Automations project where I was testing some automations. And if you float over any of these, you see as I float over this sales one, it actually kind of gives you a little slight summary that the Buckley remodel process time is 0.8 hours. The Chapman 114 process time for sales is 3.5 hours. The Notion Automations project is 0.7 hours for the sales, and each one of these you come down to, it will give you a summary of the time spent in processes. So that might be handy for some of you. Then process time is the same exact data, just looked at in a table form instead of in a chart form as far as what we would like to see about our process times. We can kind of ignore all these fields over here. I've even considered hiding them when you're in this view, but they're not hurting anything. But you're really trying to look at these fields right here that have all the numbers. So we have a quantity of cabinets, a minimum time required for this particular process. Some of them have zeros in there. And then a base takt time, something you set in the process database. And then the forecast hours, how long should this take? And then the forecast hours including this minimum we're adding to it. So here we said there's 16 cabinets and they take an hour each. So we have a forecast time of 16, and then we have a forecast hour including that 1 hour minimum. So we have 17 hours. And then I've forced some of these to be the same number. You can see some of them are, some of them aren't, but the actual hours would be the time that's tracked using the clock in and the clock out feature. But the real key down here is these two summaries that we spent for this particular project, the Buckley remodel. We actually spent 85.35 hours and we had a forecast of 89.41, which is awesome that we spent less. Now again, I made up all these numbers, but that's the objective of all this, is to give you a report that tells you based on the time that your guys clocked in and clocked out, you would spend this 85 hours, and your forecast based on your takt times is this, and you would start zeroing in on those. Those takt times are things there's numbers in there, but you'll add your own numbers to come up with this forecasted hour per minimum, and you'll come up with your own minimums. Some of them don't need that, but if you're going to go field measure a job, obviously there's some travel time involved that has nothing to do with how many cabinets there are. Can't be amortized out over 40 cabinets versus 100 cabinets versus 2 cabinets, so that needs to be kind of a fixed time, and the rest of the time can be amortized out over how many cabinets on a job. So a 70 cabinet job would take longer than a 16 cabinet job, but we want to be able to have some sort of fixed time to accommodate for some of those things. And so you see some of them have a fixed time and some of them don't. And then the last view here, this view is just something that I've been playing with recently. I'm not going to cover it here. I might create a separate video because it will take a few minutes to talk about all these things, and that doesn't really fit with the instructions type videos. But that is the procedures page. One thing that's a little unique to this page is we do have this add a project in rooms here if needed. So as I said earlier, if you're not working from the projects page, which I don't recommend unless you're sitting with a client, you would want to do that here if you happen to be the owner. If you are a team member, we'll see on the instructions for that page that that's where we would do these things. So that's it for the procedures page.